Hello there, Site 42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community. And welcome to another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director here at Site 42, as well as Head Containment Specialist. And as I have done for the last 8.5 months and counting, the daily streak remains strong. I'm here to open my office door to you, the SCP Foundation staff, for a short time to answer your burning questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we call the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff who contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them in a quite rude fashion, I will add, and of course, hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview. Perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. Either way, we are here for the next approximately 2 hours. We'll see if we go longer depending on the energy of the Containment Hazard Assessment team, i.e. chat. But before I begin, let me start by doing a little housekeeping. First of all, Legendary Doge Official. Congratulations on being our #1 most punctual member of the Containment Hazard Assessment team, i.e. being first chatter. Alongside you, Zombie Cat, Just a Factory, Lilo Kitten, Dr. Puppeteer, Silent Follower, Marker, Senior Researcher Alex, Just Pit, Pixel Periton, Dr. Dark Star, Aoki, Green Coated, Joseph Vote, Dr. Frogman, Black Phoenix. Everyone who I have just named, thank you for being punctual members of today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. As well, thank you for being members here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Furthermore, Ophelia Unavailable, Rosehill, Ice Stick, Opal the Sioux Simp, and Skylar. Congratulations on being here punctually, and thank you for being here today, just for being you. Now, I see many questions about one particular subject, so I will not make you wait. Puppy of Interest 42 had a veterinary visit today. And the opinion of the veterinarian is that Puppy of Interest 42 is in splendid health, omitting the clouded eye symptom that we are thinking might have gotten her dumped on Christmas Eve. To that person who did that, if that's what actually happened. We have still not heard from an owner, and we are testing out the name Charlie with an I, because she is very cute and little, so she needs a cute and little name, like Charlie with an I at the end. And perhaps a heart over the I. So, perhaps later on, we might have a visit from Puppy of Interest 42, codename Charlie, along the way. But our pets in the household all have C-based names. Cerberus, Charlemagne. There was a cookie and a key in at one point, so the C name is a habit, so Charlie now fits in, if that were to be the name. Furthermore, the stream subject of today. New Year's Eve is almost upon us, at least in my time zone. It's not New Year's Eve yet. It might be New Year's Eve in your time zone, depending on where you are located. But either way, the new year is bearing down upon us, and that can only mean one thing. The Foundation Fitness Initiative renews. I also had my own doctor's appointment today with my physical therapist, who cleared me to return to the gym. And with that, we are going to be doing further exercise to lose some of this extra love we gained from having an inactive year. So, everybody on board, the Foundation Fitness Initiative exists for one reason: to keep you alive. If you are the slowest researcher, you're the one that gets eaten during a containment breach. If instead you work on your cardio, a la the rules of Zombieland, then you survive. So be sure to check out our sponsor in today's description, ourselves. Or go to our support link, beacons.ai/site42, and head to the scpstore.org to get some Foundation Fitness Initiative t-shirts and get yourself ready to be in better shape in 2026. The world is trying to beat us down, but we can run faster. And then it can't catch us nor beat us. So yes, get yourselves in shape and grab a Foundation Fitness Initiative shirt if you feel the need to use that as a reminder. Now I'm seeing a fair amount of donations come in. Let me handle those real quick and then we'll get to the standard Q&A. Dr. Austin, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some tuna tartare on your way past the commissary. Happy New Year's Eve, Dr. Sherman. Well, Happy New Year's Eve if that's where it is, to you as well. We are soon there. Senior Researcher Alex, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a smoothie on your way past the commissary. How's the puppy of interest? Spunky and running around and having a good time. Got her vaccinations. We were correct in the assumption, or I should say Agent Goose, the animal wrangler, was correct in the assumption that Puppy of Interest 42 was not chipped in any manner. We were a little off on our estimation. Again, when I say we, I mean Agent Goose. I am not the animal wrangler. The estimation of 2 to 3 months might have been a little shallow. There is a little bit of one adult tooth coming in, we discovered, or the vet discovered. Hence, we believe Puppy of Interest 42 might be around 4 months in age. And so we are holding on to see if there will be a claimant. Although the longer it gets past Christmas Eve, the more likely we are thinking that we might think Puppy of Interest 42 might be home here at Site 42 in the future. You are always acting high. I don't know if you are, but the vibes. Intern Jacobs, I am not at a higher elevation at this point. I just sound this way naturally. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Holy shit. Java name. Thank you for your incredible generosity in gifting 50 memberships to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. If you happen to be gaining one of those memberships, make sure to thank Java name for the promotion you were just granted. And everyone else, give a little high hype for Java name's generosity today. Thank you for helping us build the ranks of the green names to help us win the battle against the white names. And we can hit our goals of getting 2,500 green names to dye my hair pink and 5,000 green names for the Dr. Sherman Cat-Made Waifu Dimension stream. I don't know why this is what you wanted, but damn it if I'm not a man of honor. The Cat-Made Waifu Dimension stream is slowly convincing me that I need a membership. Intern Asterian. I don't know why that is what you think is going to motivate you, but you do you. I don't understand anyone who wants that, but the Containment Hazard Assessment team wants what the Containment Hazard Assessment team wants, I guess. Oh, and by the way, just in case there's any confusion of the stream, for those of you who were wondering, the name Charlie for Puppy of Interest 42 was hand-me-down reference to the musical artist known as Charlie XCX, if there was any wondering of the meaning behind the name. Dr. Austin, thank you for donating again to say, Dr. Sherman, I have a theory. If SCP-682 can't die, what happens if it hypothetically finishes SCP-012? Well, we have in the database entry what happened during an extermination attempt utilizing SCP-012 with SCP-682. Make sure you check the termination logs to see if it's included, because this one is, and the answer to what happened is as thusly. At 15 seconds after exposure, SCP-012 was lowered into 682's containment chamber. 682 achieves visual contact. At 26 seconds within, 682 approaches 012, but has been made of free will and not due to any mind-affecting properties. At 35 seconds in, physical alterations begin to manifest and affect all ink written on any piece of paper, which tests later identify as dried blood from 682. This anomalous effect affects all ink in a 500-meter radius, possessing the same anomalous properties as SCP-012. 47 seconds in the ensuing breach of security, 682 breached containment, having never been observed to establish direct physical contact with 012. So the answer is, 012 is not going to affect 682 at all, and in fact, caused a massive containment breach on site. So, unfortunate. Dr. Austin Vell, also congratulations on becoming a mobile task force captain here at Site-42. We appreciate your membership and your service, and the combat expertise that you will lend to our battle against the White Names. Onyx, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, intern Onyx. Make sure to grab yourself some pasta on your way past the commissary. New year, and I'm probably going to deal with new anomalies. That's just fucking great. I need a raise. You and me both. A, for having to deal with new anomalies, and B, in need of a raise for the effort we put in here. I feel ya. Base. Intern Base, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some toffee on your way past the commissary. Reggie Solar Radio from a Global Occult Coalition transport convoy. The radio has the 3 moon symbol on it, and it serves as a direct line to the Crescent Support Division, where you can request a private security team. All right. Well, we definitely need to do a little research into the relationship between the Global Occult Coalition and the 3 Moons Initiative. Those two groups of interest, to my knowledge, have not crossed over a lot in the past, and I would be worried about any sort of diplomatic relations between them and what that could mean toward them ganging up on us. So let's keep an eye on it. Orange Cloud, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a plate of nachos on your way past the commissary. Bro, why does everyone think it's New Year's? It's only December 30th. Not the 31st or January 1st, but the 30th. I just don't get it. I believe in some time zones I stream late enough. Say it's literally 4:20 where I am in California. I believe that if you go enough hours ahead, it might be the beginning of after midnight on New Year's Eve, depending on the time zone. So I believe the concept of time zones, as annoying as it is the culprit to blame here. Dr. Austin Vell, thank you for donating again to say, Dr. Sherman, I have a good theory. If SCP-682 can't die, or SCP-096, what happens if they finish 012? Would it continually try to kill itself? Well, 682, we already did the 012 test, and it was a disaster. 096, I believe... Would 096 be affected by 012? Because the problem is, it is barely sentient, 096 is. to the point where we don't even know if it's sentient or sapient. All it does is cry, murder, eat hot chip, and lie. So, and the last two of those were a humorous joke and not accurate scientific data, thank you. Da-da-da. 012. Human blood. It seems to only ask for human blood in general. At least that's the DNA we found on it. It doesn't mention animal blood. Now, perhaps 682's interaction with it was a somewhat exception because 682 has a human-like intelligence. I'm not sure 096 is actually sapient enough to be affected by 012, but it doesn't seem like we have a tissue test between the two of them. So that is a hypothetical that would result in us needing to breach containment of 096 to test. And I just think that's a poor idea in the first place. So I do not believe we will be doing such a thing. But I will take one test in the database to see. No, I'm not seeing a crossover test. Unless you count a crossover test performed by Dr. Sumerian and Mr. Illustrated. Mr. Illustrated and Dr. Sumerian are good sources of research. So even though this might not be canon on the database, but I consider Dr. Sumerian a worthy source of intel here. 096. Looks like 096 is working the document. Oh, it looks like somebody interrupted the test by looking at its face. So we may not know what the finish is. But rather than listen to me summarize Mr. Illustrated's video, why don't you check out the video? Unbelievable what happens when 096 finishes 012 on Mr. Illustrated's YouTube channel. And say Dr. Sherman sent you in the comments. Give Mr. Illustrated a little engagement. Intern Michael Voss, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Guardian, Intern Guardian, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Get yourself some fried mozzarella sticks on your way past the commissary. What is the process for a new anomaly that is depressed? It's extremely powerful, but it won't move unless someone is in pain. Well, my question is, where is it? If it's in a public place, then we need to put a D-class into some pain to draw the entity to it and into a containment cell. So that is something we can do. We already hired Cliff. Touche, desk. Touche. Intern Base, thank you for donating again to say. I also had encountered an anomaly at an orphanage in Rockford. The anomaly manifests as a 5-year-old boy who can conjure their imaginary friends as physical entities. I'm unsure how to contain it. Well, what are its imaginary friends? Are they nice, docile entities, or are they frickin' murder monsters? Because a kid with imaginary friends doesn't seem that out of bounds for what we do here. Black Phoenix, thank you for your 3-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service, and the studying you are doing to make plans to help us win the battle against the White Names. May we remember the crew of the Peregrine 9. Well, to remember the crew of the Peregrine 9, I would need to know what the Peregrine 9 was in the first place. I am unfamiliar with the Peregrine 9. So, however they did, I hope they did with honor. Doctor, are you an SCP? Well, intern and Big Devj, while I am questionably anomalous, I'm currently stuck in a quantum superposition of both being anomalous and non-anomalous. This frickin' canonicity issue is really bothering me. I don't know that I have any anomalous abilities, but I might. Who knows? So my anomalous status is shaky. That's qualification 1, and we're on thin ice already. And while I am on the SCP database, which is the second qualification, I do not have an SCP article about me, which means I am not an SCP. You have to be anomalous, you have to be on the SCP database as an SCP. There are plenty of anomalies on the SCP database that are held by other groups of interest or loose, and they are not SCPs even though they are anomalous and on the database. So you gotta get all 3 to be an actual SCP. Ah, green-coded, you are correct. The like count, just jumped to exactly the viewer count. So hit that like button, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, and get the like count above the viewer count so we can harangue YouTube's algorithm into bringing us more SCP Foundation watchers. People who might not know about SCP and need an introduction. People who do know about SCP, but maybe fell out of the fandom and needed some rejuvenation of their interest. Either way, you guys hitting that like button makes the algorithm do that job, so we can get more SCP fans who will help us to support the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. So I thank you for your service. Intern Guardian, thank you for donating again to say, Dr. Sherman, what is the containment for, Dr. Sherman? Dr. Sherman, what is the containment for, Dr. Sherman? Well, if you're talking about that powerful depressed anomaly you were talking about, it's because it's an entity. And if an entity is anomalous, I would prefer it to be contained and documented as an SCP. I do not want anomalies running around free. That's just common sense at the Foundation. I thought you would know that. Ten Tails, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, and hey, long time no see. Hope you've been doing well. Make sure to grab yourself some crab legs on your way past the commissary. Slowly comes back after a dimensional jump. Howdy, it's been a while. Slurps a box juice. Well, enjoy your box juice, and yes, it is good to see you. I hope your time in that other dimension was not terrible for you. Intern Guardian, thank you for donating again to say, what is the containment for yourself? Oh, Dr. Sherman, what is the containment for Dr. Sherman? I thought for, sorry, quick interruption. Charlie, nope, you ran away because you're not knowing that name yet. Charlie, nope, not yet. There is no containment for me, thank you. Dr. Theron Sherman is not an SCP, does not need to be contained. Ha ha ha. Intern Walashi and Intern Arenes. Welcome to Site42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Dr. Austin, thank you for donating again to say, Dr. Sherman, would 066's eyes trigger SCP-096? Or when 096 comes to SCP-066, would 096 trigger 066? Well, first I would need to see what 066 is. I don't recall that database entry off the top of my head. What is an SCP-066? Eric's Toy. Anomalous mass of braided yarn and ribbon, weighing approximately 1 kilogram. Strands may be taken individually manipulated. When this is done, a note on the diatonic scale is produced by the object. When 6 or more notes are produced, it will produce an effect of varying nature. You can turn it into a small calico kitten. You can make it play a song. It has eyes. So the iPods SCP-131 do stop SCP-173. So therefore, I do think that Eric's Toy's eyes might cause an 096 incident. However, I'm not sure, can 066 be destroyed? I mean, it is just a bunch of yarn. 096 could probably shred it pretty easily. But it does seem to shift and morph. Desk is letting me know that this anomaly was damaged by simple scissors. And that means that 096 could definitely destroy it. So we should not test this. We don't want to risk either anomaly. All right, let me refresh the chat just so it's having a bit of a glitch. And we're back. Dr. Sherman, can you please send me SCP-3108 so I can show that disrespectful intern that ate my lunch yesterday why people don't eat my lunch? Researcher Kitten, no. I will not allow you to nerf them or any of their possessions in revenge for eating your lunch. Find a less deleterious form of revenge, please. Intern Zerp, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some chicken fries on your way past the commissary. D-Class here. I have an experiment with SCP-418. We're playing chess or something. Is this dangerous for my health? Any advice? SCP-418, you say? I feel like I recognize that designation. No, not double 418, just a singular 418. I'm not seeing a code name on this page. Someone changed the formatting in a frustrating manner. Codename Human Jigsaw. When 418 is injured in such a way that its skin is broken, the injury will near instantaneously grow in length until it severs a portion of 418's body. Such injuries are uniform and clean with no variation or resistance due to tissue type. Despite the severe appearance of these injuries, 418's body will continue to function as if they are still connected to each other, even if an organ is severed. I do not believe that you are in danger playing chess with the human jigsaw. So, no, you're fine. I see SCP-4666 outside my window. What do I do? Well, it is still within SCP-4666's active phase. The Yule Man does not stop at Christmas. It is active until January 1st to 2nd. So it is highly possible that you might be in danger and you might need to get south of that 40-degree latitude line. Now, if you do not live above the 40-degree latitude, or if you... how do I phrase this? Yes, if you live south of the 40-degree latitude line, it is highly possible you're just seeing a tall, emaciated, naked homeless man outside of your house, which may or may not still be a cause for worry. Do you think I could take SCP-4666? Able. No. No, for a very simple reason. SCP-4666 is a teleporter. By the time you reach it, it will teleport to the other side of the planet, and you will not have any way of which to attack it. You'll have to cross the entire planet before you even get a shot, and then it will disappear again. So, no, you can't. Dr. Austin, thank you for donating again to ask, what's your opinion on Mobile Task Force Ada 77? Well, let's have a look-see at what Ada 77 does. Let's go here and here. And where is it? There we go. Ranking Mobile Task Forces as hot dog eating contest champions. Mobile Task Force Ada 77, codename Spheres Within Spheres, are D rank hot dog eating contest contestants because they are clerics, and clerics are knowledgeably known to be weaker than even wizards. They are the glassiest of not even cannons. And so a squishy cleric is not going to be winning any hot dog eating contests. So that is my thoughts on Mobile Task Force Ada 77, codename Spheres Within Spheres. Intern Guardian, thank you for donating again to say, please send SCP-999 to my containment cell. Happy New Year, Guardian out. Let me see your behavioral record, Intern Guardian. Your disciplinary record. Yes, it seems that you are a above board member of the team. So yes, you may have SCP-999 privileges. I will put that into the staff database calendar as soon as we are done with stream. Grillius Caesar, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a Cobb salad on your way past the commissary. What happens if I look at SCP-096 on the other side of an infinite chasm? Let's say it's too wide for don't alley jump. Don't alley jump. Well, listen. The thing about SCP-096 is it will persist. It is, as we theorize at least, fairly indestructible except for in the most extreme circumstances. So if anything were going to bridge infinity over time, 096 would be one of them. The trick here is that it will take a very long time, I'm sure, but 096 won't stop until it gets you. Now, that is to say, if it is literally infinite, then we look at 096 cannot do infinity, and 682, being infinitely regenerating, did frustrate 096 into a mental breakdown because 096 could not defeat 682. So if it could not defeat an infinitely regenerating entity, it is possible it can't tackle an infinitely wide chasm. But here's the deal. I mean, that's a fun hypothetical. Where are you going to get an infinitely wide chasm, huh? That's not anywhere we have on Earth, besides some SCP locations. Anyways, I hope this makes sense theoretically with the hypothesis of the research. Ten Tails Gaming, thank you for your extremely generous second donation to today's stream. What I want you to do is I want you to go up to the commissary, I want you to walk right up to the cashier, and I want you to punch him right in the jaw. Boom! If you can break the cashier's jaw in two places, similar to a certain sporting event that happened recently and hilariously, then the head cashier of the commissary, as a sign of respect for your punching prowess, will grant you the Eternal Nug, a nugget of chicken that, when eaten, will continually regenerate. So as long as you don't eat the entire thing, you have infinite bites of chicken nuggy. That's what you get for your generosity. Thank you again, 10 Tails 10 Gaming. And you asked, continues to slurp on the box of juice. It was the best vacation an anomaly like me could ever have. Actually, I got to meet a happy version of a hard-to-destroy lizard. Good fellow, by the way. Found a tree that seemed to be screaming. It was beautiful. Ten Tails, you haven't been around for a minute. Did you hear that SCP-4521 finally and canonically screamed on the SCP database? It was a huge deal. It was crazy. We got so drunk on that stream. And by so drunk, I mean I wasn't actually that drunk, but I did do too many shots too quickly and made myself sick. But, yes, unfortunately, you can look at SCP 729, that's J's database entry to see the canonical test with SCP-4521 in which that thing made SCP-4521 scream. It was horrifying, but beautiful. Interesting. Desk, thank you for your first donation to the stream you are employed to in order to brag about the fact that you made me eat a Bible on stream. You jerk. Intern and Bictefedge. I am uninterested in the predilections of that person, and so I will not be answering such a question. Was it good? Non-screaming tree, are you talking about eating the Bible? Because you can go watch the end of that stream. It took a fucking hour. Oh, very bright, very bright. Oh, there we go. Getting better. There we go. All right, stream is working again. Wonderful. Aren't New Year's resolutions a joke, SCP? Intern Schwello, I do believe you are correct about that. If I check into the database, and also, I would be a little shocked that that's not in the New Year's section of documents, if that's true. SCP-6306 was an A4 size sheet of paper formerly belonging to Dr. William Wallace Weddell, i.e. SCP-7000. It contained various New Year's resolution goals, although the exact contents of SCP-6306 have yet to be disclosed, as Dr. Weddell refused to elaborate on the written desires he planned to fulfill in the coming year. While SCP-6306 itself was not anomalous, the circumstances surrounding its sudden neutralization, see incident, warranted its SCP designation. It is unknown whether the incident involving 6306 was caused by an unidentified third party or the object itself. Dr. Weddle has prohibited any further exploration of the anomalous makeup of 6306 due to it being, as Dr. Weddle said, unnecessary. And in the incident, Dr. Weddle is seated in his office chair skimming the contents of the New Year's resolution list. Faintly smiling, takes a sip of coffee. A spark is seen at the bottom corner of the document before it suddenly catches on fire. This occurs exactly on midnight, to be time-wise. Dr. Weddle sees this and accidentally chokes on his coffee as he steps from his desk, leaving the document resting on top, kicking away his seat as it slides across the room. Dr. Weddle appears confused. Dr. Weddle swears under his breath as he notices a coffee stain on his lab coat before turning his attention to SCP-6306, the New Year's resolution document. Gradually approaches it before throwing it on the floor and repeatedly stomping on it. Despite this, the fire does not subside and continues spreading throughout the document. Dr. Weddle sighs, putting his hands on the back of his neck before swiftly exiting his office. 5 minutes later, Dr. Weddle returns with a fire extinguisher and attempts to extinguish the fire once more. He coughs and closes his eyes as excess amounts of haze is released. He eventually succeeds, however, 6306 is completely disintegrated before flames were put out. Dr. Weddle sets down the fire extinguisher off camera. A message composed of SCP-6306's ashes remains, reading, "As if you'd fulfill them anyway." Dr. Weddle stares at this for a brief moment before leaving the room to retrieve a dustpan and brush. The rest of the recording shows him silently sweeping the ash and discarding it in the trash bin. Afterward, Dr. Weddle filed a request to take the rest of the day off. Request was accepted. As of writing, Dr. Weddle has made no attempt to redraft his New Year's resolution plans. Dr. Weddle, as a Foundation researcher, is a character archetype that we in the tropes community call a butt monkey. Butt monkey, a technical term, is, let me get the exact definition here so I'm not being unthorough in my education here. The character who has always made the butt of the demeaning joke or the put them through hell plotline. For whatever reason, the butt monkey seems to walk through life with a permanent kick me sign attached to their backs, invisible to them, but all too visible to the rest of the world. Nothing ever goes right for this character, and if something bad is going to happen to someone, chances are it's going to be them. Long story short, it sucks to be a butt monkey. And SCP-7000, Dr. William Wallace Weddle, is certainly the Foundation's most thorough butt monkey. That unlucky sod. Ten Tails, thank you for donating again to say, "So, Dr. Sherman, has the word of the Lord on the tip of his tongue. SCP gods, catch him before he becomes an anomaly. That's how it usually happens." Has the word of the Lord on the tip of his... Oh, because we ate a Bible. No. I spent the whole of the next day in Vor Jesus' theme park. SCP-5991 showed up and swallowed me whole, as expected from the Bible eating. But then we discovered something unusual if you watch the stream after I ate the Bible. And it's that there's a new group of interest taking up residence inside 5991's stomach called the Sons of the Swallowed. And they're trying to do something in there, but we don't really have all the research yet. I have got to prank that guy one day. Well, Aoki, it honestly won't be any different than Dr. Weddle's normal daily life. Seriously, read Dr. William Wallace Weddle's article, SCP-7000, codename The Loser. Dr. Weddle's life is a series of, that's rough, buddy. Hey, should I subscribe to your channel? Well, Intern Main, if you enjoy the SCP Foundation and memes and jokes and explanations about it, then probably. If that doesn't sound like your cup of tea, probably not. I was led to believe God is an SCP and he comes and goes as he wants. Well, Intern Todd, you have been misled. The entity you're speaking of is SCP-343. It is not God, not capital or lowercase g. It is a reality bender with delusions of grandeur. Yes, we can't really contain it, and it just stays here willingly, so we don't go through the effort of making a big deal of it, but it is a very frustrating anomaly. Hello, Dr. Sherman. Theoretically, how would you contain the King in Yellow? Well, Intern Potato, I am of the belief that the King in Yellow entity is... Let's see. First four stories are loosely connected by three main devices. A play in the book form called The King in Yellow, mysterious, malevolent, supernatural, gothic entity known as the King in Yellow, an eerie symbol called the Yellow Sign. Blah, 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 blah. The entity, the entity. I'm just trying to find a thorough stat write-up for the King in Yellow. Unfortunately, as a non-SCP entity, it's not like we have a nice, convenient containment document for this. This is just a copy pasta of the Wikipedia article. Don't be lazy. Bearer of madness and damnation for those who have read the play and associate with the equally mysterious Yellow Sign. So, essentially, what you are dealing with here is what we in the Foundation call the Hanged King's Tragedy. The Hanged King's Tragedy is essentially a retelling inspired by the King in Yellow. Very much similar. And so SCP-701, containing that play so that it does not infect people, is the Foundation's goal. That's about all we can do with an entity of such vast cosmical situationship. Question, do you believe in ghosts? Well, I work at the SCP Foundation, and we contain many a spectral anomaly, so what's not to believe in? There's 3 of them down the hall. Be careful of using the restrooms, because the butt ghost might get you. Thank you to both Jace and Felsands, interns Jace and Felsands, for the hair compliments. Yes, the colors are fading very nicely. It's a good look. I'm glad you appreciate it too. There's an SCP in my house that has not been identified. But it seems nice, it just wants to sit on top of a Mountain Dew. What should I do? Well, Intern Helix, I suggest you bring that Mountain Dew can into a containment cell, where we can then interview the entity and see what we can learn. MMA Bro. You seem to not know what you're doing here, so we're about an hour into stream. I can run the intro a second time for newbies. Hey there. In case you didn't know, I'm Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director here at Site 42 of the SCP Foundation. And we do daily streams where I open my office doors. I office my open doors. I open my office doors to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we all work at, the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff who contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of our purview, perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom, that's what we do here, daily, for 8.5 months and counting. And my author from the pataphysical layer above ours wants you to know that the SCP Foundation is a creative writing community and wiki. It is essentially a fan fiction website, but all about one subject, written by thousands of people who have made some pretty dope stories and have developed a fandom about them. Ow. And so an SCP is an anomaly, a monster or a magic object or a strange spatial anomalous location that we contain from the general public. That way people do not know what they are. So one SCP is a statue that moves unless you make direct eye contact with it. Every time you blink, it moves and tries to kill you. Some SCPs are a knife that deletes you from reality, or a cake that infinitely replicates, but it replicates so much that it might flood the world with cake and destroy humanity. So we have to make sure we keep eating the cakes. It started as creepypasta, but as it continued to grow and evolve, it became fiction of all sorts and genres. Intern Minecrafter, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a crepe on your way past the commissary. Why is there a goblin eating my chips? Well, they sound like they're the goblin's chips, not your chips. I mean, the goblin's eating them. They're obviously the goblin's chips, so that's the first thing you need to pay attention to. Grillius Caesar, thank you for donating again to ask, on that note, can anyone write an SCP? Yes, as long as you basically, there's only one requirement. You have to be over the age of 18, because that's the age at which we allow you to become a member. Because of the subject matter of our horror and science fiction website, including a lot of gratuitous violence and sexuality in some articles, it is an adults-only community. But once you are of the age to join, anyone can join for free through the application process and then begin writing their SCP. So yes, anybody can join. What's your favorite SCP? Intern Brute. I always say my favorite SCPs as part of the outro of stream. It's kind of a tradition around these parts. So, you can either wait till the end of stream, which will be in about an hour, hour and a half, we'll see. Or, you can skip to yesterday's stream and watch the VOD and go to the end. I'll say them there. Or you can donate and just ask, and I'll do it right then and there out of generosity. So, whichever way you want to know, that's how you're going to know. Have you heard about SCP Wish I Knew? Intern Braden. Yes, I have in fact heard of the new brain rot meme SCP Wish I Knew. And 10% of me is entertained and pleased by the proliferation of SCP-67 and SCP Wish I Knew, because they mean that the SCP Foundation is still powerful in the cultural zeitgeist. If something is weird on the internet, then it's going to be linked to SCP, And that is pretty cool reputationally. It means that we're still around. But I said I 10% like it. I 90% find it annoying because they get spammed in our chat, disrupting the casual flow of conversation, as well as people thinking they are actual SCPs when they are not canon on the SCP database. So mostly annoyed, but, you know, a little I'm fine with it. Do, 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 do. Are there SCPs that can teleport bread? Well, intern THR, I don't know about specifically teleporting bread, but there is, in fact, SCP-3764, which is a small burlap sack with cursive writing that reads, "For those in need, signed a friend," and that burlap sack contains infinite loaves of bread. It just spawns bread. And so it doesn't really, I guess unless it's teleporting it from a bread dimension of some sort. Yes, we have an infinite bread bag if you want some bread. But I don't know about the teleporting part. That seems a little too specific, and I don't think we have that. Can I have some bread? Yes, intern Leopax. The bread anomaly is SCP-3764, and SCP-3764 is allowed for use by Foundation staff as well as D-Class. It saves us a bundle on the food budget. Ladies and gentlemen of the Containment Hazard Assessment Team, as well as those who are not ladies or gentlemen at all, I will put SCP-3764 into the commissary so you can all have some bread. Okay, I see you all asking for bread. You can go get some bread. Intern Dominic, thank you for your first donation to today's stream and your second donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself, I guess, some bread on your way past the commissary. I've been researching your channel a lot as I write my first SCP. Well, I hope you're getting the help you need. My first question is, are all the redacted SCP logs simply blank / they have not been upvoted enough to be on the wiki? Access denied logs. Yes. If a label on the SCP wiki says access denied, except for one or two that are Easter egg fake-outs. But almost all of the access denieds you see on the SCP list, especially in the 9000s, those are empty logs. And so those are the ones that you can put a new SCP in once you have it written. And so good luck with your writing. I hope you're going through the process of greenlight, as well as the critique process properly, so that you have a bangin' first SCP, my man. SMP, intern SMP, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a waffle on your way past the commissary. And thank you for donating twice. Appreciate your generosity. Hi, this is SMP Foundation 22. How are you doing? SMP Foundation? What does the M stand for? Secure, maintain, and protect. Huh. And then SMP Foundation 22, we have a missing SMP. Well, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. What is an SMP? I don't know what that is or what... we are the SCP Foundation. Intern Kaylin and intern Josiah. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Could SCP-2006 potentially be one of the strongest SCPs? Well, that is the hypothesis, intern Thanos. Because of the ability to transform into nearly anything, and one of our researchers does hypothesize that if 2006 turned into a nuclear bomb, it could in fact activate that nuke and then regenerate. So it is possible that if 2006 got a hold of the right mental concept, it could be incredibly horrifying. And in fact, we have a sequel from the SCP anthology of last year, SCP-8066. And SCP-8066 is a take on SCP-2006, a sequel of sorts, that you might want to check out if you're interested in that anomaly. What mobile task force would you send to contain Pennywise? Okay. How does one describe Pennywise? Secondary antagonist, serving as titular main antagonist of the It. It is known as Glamour, an ancient, obscure, specific series of horror, malevolent, shape-shifting cosmic entities that feed on emotions such as fear, which is why people posit that Mary Poppins is also a glamour. The twisted, extra-dimensional eldritch entity had a form that humans could only comprehend as a giant spider, but it almost always disguised itself as a clown. Counters a local children group. They end the monster and avenge the victims. So my question becomes, I'm trying to remember exactly what destroys it. Because don't they just, like, not be afraid of it, and that stops it? Do they really do anything? So yeah, what mobile task force, desk, what mobile task force do we send for love to defeat the beast? They have an orgy at one point. Oh God, I forgot about that. Steven, cut down on the cocaine, my man. Or not. I'm not your mom. Alright, well, if I go to the mobile task forces, alright, so no. The Jaeger bombers, 8 of 5, fight giant monsters, kaijus, and so could be useful, but they're more of a weapons-based group. 8 of 10 deals with visual cognitohazards, visual mimetic agents, or otherwise indirect and alternative observation in order to safely handle. If they discovered the entity fed on fear, they would be the ones who could do, well, something like that. The gardeners, no, they deal with plant entities. The Ghostbusters deal with spectral anomalies. The Last to Fall, Chi 8, deal with sarkic entities. Ara Orun, Omega Zero, deals with informational threats and entities. Omega 7 is out of commission. Achilles Heel only really focuses on Area 13. I guess the only one I would say is likely to be the right team for this is Mobile Task Force 8-10, codenamed See No Evil, because they seem to deal with very oblique anomalies. And so a direct assault on Pennywise doesn't seem like the right move, so the Jaeger bombers should be out. I would assume 8-10 could come up with a solution. So that's my final answer for the day. What is a sarkic entity? Black Phoenix. Sarkicism is a religion, anomalous religion within the Foundation verse. Sarkicism. And they are essentially the flesh-based religion, counter to the Church of the Broken God, who are the mechanist religion. Sarkics use runes and thaumaturgy to alter their bodies, including new limbs or organs. They do all sorts of stuff to their transform their bodies into flesh beings. They're a group of interest in the Foundation, and so you can find a lot of entries about them. Okay, you've changed your name to SCP Site 22, I guess. And you're saying SCP-001 is missing. Well, which one? There are so many. There's so many 001s. You gotta be more specific. Togei Numaki. Yes, I do remember you. You have a very unique name, easy to remember. Who is the first SCP? Intern Lex. SCP-173 is the very first SCP that was written. And so that is one answer for what is the first SCP. The other one would be any of the SCP-001s. Little Gordy, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Are there any other anomalous apps or digital viruses other than SCP-1471? Oh my, are there? Let me see if I can find anomalous apps as a tag or something. SCP Tag Cloud. Now, this is a unique page that I can't even find the link for anywhere on the database. But if you Google SCP Tag Cloud, you get a list of every tag on the SCP Wiki. And some of them that are more used are bigger. So you can see if it's a little more popular, like Euclid or Fragment or Humanoid or Keter. Obviously, SCP is the very most used tag on the site. Tail. License Box, okay. License Box and Creative Commons are the most used tags on the site. But you can find all sorts of things, and so let's see. Appliance War. I'm going to put this down. So there is no one for apps. Now let's start by going to 1471 and seeing if there's a tag that could be viable to help us in this search. Going to the bottom of Mallow's page. We see the tags are computer, Euclid, humanoid, media, SCP, transmission, uncontained, and visual. And so none of those are specific to an application. And so the next thing we would do is a search for SCP apps and hope that we don't get the Let's see, another one that I know exists is the SCP-4U News app. This is SCP-5343. SCP-5343 is a mobile news application operating on all handheld devices. Although media presented on 5343 varies, information within these publications can directly or indirectly affect the subjects operating the app. Information presented includes stories about the affected subject. Events may cover a range anywhere between the subject's birth or death. Informative news snippets about the affected subject's relatives or close friends. Reports concerning events that have directly affected or will affect the subject. And photographed or recorded footage of the subject. This includes areas where the subject is completely alone. So SCP-5343, the 4U News app, literally stalks you and tells you what's going on in your own life. And in the tags, electronic Euclid knowledge, memory affecting, neurological, online, predictive, SCP, Westhead Media. So, the answer becomes, there is no tag for application, but last-ditch effort, if we search for application in the database search, the problem is application, which is the word we would use, we wouldn't use a colloquialism like app, also applies to the word application when it comes to an application for a job application or an application as a applying something. So you'll have to do a little bit of searching to find anomalous applications, but that is what I would do if I were looking for such things. What happens if SCP-049 touches you while wearing SCP-1415? Well, what is SCP-1415, first of all? I'm unfamiliar with that database entry off the top of my head. The Flesh Gauntlet. Fingerless leather gauntlet designed for use with the left hand. The object has the tendency to expand and contract slightly, giving it the appearance that it is breathing. It has been transported to Research Site 6 without incident, where Dr. Turgis has received permission to experiment with it. The object's anomalous properties come to effect when the wearer grasps any object in such a way that the palm of the gauntlet rests upon it. It then begins a process that takes place over 1 to 3 seconds. The target is converted into a living organism composed of various human tissues, while destroying tissue in the wearer's body roughly equivalent to 1/500th the mass of the converted object. If the wearer dies while wearing the gauntlet, it may still be used until the carcass is totally destroyed. However, when attempting to convert an object with a dead body as the wearer, the converted object will also be dead. So, first of all, if SCP-1415 is in fact alive, as possible because it has a sort of breathing movement to it, 049 could end its biological functions, causing it to die. Then we've neutralized an anomaly unnecessarily for no purpose. Meanwhile, it is a fingerless glove. So if 049 is not careful touching you while wearing it, the fingers of 049 will kill you. So that's, the glove dies or you die. Third and finally, if 049 touches you with only the palm of the fingerless glove, and the fingerless glove doesn't die, then we have the problem of what is 049 really made of? Because we know that its cloak and its gloves and its beak mask are all biological parts of its body. Therefore, would those things be what you were converted into as a material? Either way, this is a very risky experiment. I doubt we will give it a try. Dr. Sherman, have you been able to make SCP-4521 scream yet? Intern Madison, I myself have not done so, but some intrepid member of, I'm assuming, Site-42's team used the SCP... Well, give me a second. 729 J to successfully make SCP-4521 scream in canon on the SCP database. You can look at the SCP-4521 article. The SCP-729-J article for confirmation. I found the foundation, but not the sign-up center. How do I apply? Well, intern unknown, the foundation hires you. So if you are wanting to be an employee at the foundation, you need to be the best of the best of the best in your field, at which point we contact you. Furthermore, if you want to join the SCP database, that way you can submit SCP logs, that would require you to go to the homepage of the SCP database, scpwiki.wiki.com, and then you could use the sidebar to join the site, so to speak. Intern Waffles, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Dr. Sherman, why are there so many carnivorous objects in the SCP universe? Why does everything want to eat us? Intern Bentley, I'm not sure that there's as many carnivorous objects as you think. I could pull lots and find a lot of things that don't eat humans in our database. I think you're overly worrying. Time check. Just wondering if I can catch you after going out to dinner. Well, Amber, we are currently 80 minutes into what I believe will be a 2-hour stream, maybe 2:15, 2:30. So we'll see how the energy is at that point. But suffice it to say, we are 40 minutes from the known end of stream, with maybe some change afterwards. What are you streaming for? Well, intern back. Foundation members have questions about this dark and mysterious place we call the SCP Foundation. And so, of course, I'm here to answer your questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff that contain them, the groups that try to stop us from containing them, and hypothetical containment procedures for anomalies that are not SCPs but are still quite anomalous. So if you have any questions about the SCP Foundation, that's what I'm here for. Intern Matthew, I always name my favorite SCPs at the end of stream as part of the outro. It's a tradition. So you can go to yesterday's stream and watch the end of the VOD to see them, or you can wait till the end of stream today, or you can just donate and I'll say them early. How did dealing with the Yule Man go this year? Give me a moment. I'm going to show you something that very clearly gives our opinion on that subject. Series 5, Tales Edition, Yule Man. Not that one. This is a tale called Sell Clickbait Profit. Forward. Keeping your children safe this Christmas north of 40 degrees. From Dr. Amelia Buck. To Dr. Ann Worster. I can't believe I'm reading this. I don't think I'll ever get used to this, especially after seeing Anomaly29.com and BuzzFeed.com/skips become a thing. And then we have an email here. Keeping your children safe this Christmas north of 40 degrees by Taylor Cadal, former SCP-4666 Specialist, SCP Foundation, December 22nd, 2021. It's our first Christmas since our cover got blown, and there's no skip getting as much attention this week as SCP-4666. While your chance of being the unlucky one to get, chopped up and made into toys are pretty low, most parents aren't okay with pretty low. Without further ado, my advice on SCP-4666 and how to not mess with it. Number 1, shoot the dude. You see, part of the problem for us is we can't get to the victims fast enough. There's nothing to suggest a simple 9mm to the skull isn't enough to stop it. It's not like the lizard is coming down the chimney with old St. Nick. Ideally, you wound it and we contain it, but you do earn a free Medal of Honor from our friends in New York if you pull off this option. Number 2, send your kids south of the line for the week. Problem here is that you're increasing the chances for everyone else. If you don't care, that's okay, but it's not the recommended choice. Plus, explaining to your kids, I'm just sending you away from home for Christmas so you don't get flayed alive by an eldritch mockery of Santa Claus, will make them ask why you live where you do in the first place. 3, spend Christmas in a hotel. Expensive and tricky, but it works. Boring though. And Motel 6 on a Christmas Eve is still full of crazy naked guys who might still skin you alive. Number 4, let us put a photo of SCP-096 in your chimney. Available upon request. And then a final note. Jesus Christ, Anne, they get one crazy doctor to interview and post this shit. Or as they say in the pataphysics department, pure lol foundation. Gotta keep churning out the clickbait. That is the entirety of the SCP tale, Sell Clickbait Profit, by SCP author Kaldal. And I just upvoted it because I had not voted it before. And I thought it's pretty funny. So, I hope you enjoyed this reading. And now you have a little more information on how the Foundation would deal with the Yule Man in a Broken Masquerade scenario. Dr. Sherman, people ship me with SCP-049. I did not know that. How didn't you know that? That is a highly popular ship. I don't approve of people shipping the anomalies, but at least they're not trying to fraternize with them themselves, so it's less unacceptable. Why is Dr. Sherman so nonchalant? Also, poor SCP-035. Intern Rusty, I've been here for over 10 years. I've seen a lot of things. And the things I'm seeing stop you from being chalant. I'll tell you that. SCP's real. No, MMA bro, the SCP Foundation is a creative writing community and fan fiction website. It is not real. We drop kayfabe if someone asks, because of 10 years ago, there was the whole Slender Man stabbing scenario where two girls stabbed their friend because Slender Man told them to. And so we don't pretend to be real if asked, just to make sure no one gets any funny ideas. Nice shirt, dude. Well, thank you, Intern Michael. I found this at a thrift store. Get mad style. On the cheap. Intern Midnight Steve. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a bagel on your way past the commissary. Does the Foundation have any opinions on the Transformers franchise, and if there's any possible SCP behind it? Well, the media franchise is not anomalous to my knowledge, but if the entities did exist in our universe, then they would in fact be quite anomalous. Dr. Sherman has such peak fashion taste. Can I have your closet? I'm sorry, Intern Rusty. My Hawaiian shirt collection has already been signed away in my will upon my demise to Clef. Even though Clef's older than me and I believe he'll be dying first with his very violent lifestyle, it was still cajolled into me leaving mine to him and him not leaving him to me in a fair trade. I'm not sure how that worked. I actually need to look back. We were very drunk at that party. How would the Foundation contain a sapient ant hive mind, and what class would it be? Also, sorry if it's boring, lol. Well, intern ant, a sentient ant hive mind, sapient ant hive mind. So, I would need more details. How vast is this anomaly? Because if it's one ant mound, then we could very easily contain the area and the ants and stop that from being, that could be a Euclid case anomaly. It depends definitely on how vast the anomaly is. What does SCP stand for? MMA bro, a lot of people have this false idea that the original definition of SCP is secure, contain, and protect. And while that is the motto of the Foundation, that is not the original meaning. SCP stood for, initially, Special Containment Procedures. This is Special Containment Procedures 173 for this statue. This is Special Containment Procedures 682 for this giant murder lizard. And so Special Containment Procedures is the initial meaning, and Secure, Contain, Protect sprung off as an informal motto after that. What is the difference between an SCP and a ghost? Well, Intern Michael, ghosts are anomalies and therefore they are SCPs if contained by the Foundation, which means there isn't a difference. There are plenty of ghost SCPs and we have an entire mobile task force, Mu-13, codename the Ghostbusters, dedicated to dealing with spectral anomalies. So, you could say it's like the square rectangle problem. All ghosts are anomalies, but not all anomalies are ghosts. Meanwhile, not all anomalies are SCPs, only contained and documented anomalies are SCPs. Is an avatar an SCP? Intern Dark, what do you mean by an avatar? That word has several meanings. Are you talking about the Avatar films? Are you talking about the one person who can bend all four elements? Are you talking about a miniature avatar on your computer game? There are several things you could be talking about, and I'm not sure which one. What is the current number of days since the last containment breach at Site 42? Chester Factory, the last, our days since last containment breach is 9 days. 9 days since our last containment breach. We are cooking. We are cooking. I like that. Is the Backrooms an SCP, and how, if so, how would it work? Intern Michael, the Backrooms, while anomalous, are not an SCP, because remember, for something to be an SCP, it needs to A, be anomalous, B, be on the SCP database, and C, be written up as an SCP document. The Backrooms are anomalous, but they are not on the SCP database, and they are not documented as an SCP. Nor could they be, because they are owned by somebody else. And it is not in the SCP fandom's Creative Commons rules to use other people's works like that. So the Backrooms is a separate outside entity that is anomalous, but not a SCP. Excuse me, Dr. Sherman, is it possible I could be trained by you? It would be an honor. Well, Intern Dreamer, what are we doing here? But a class right now. You are currently being trained by me in the ways of being an SCP researcher. You're welcome. Is the Siren Head SCP article classed a joke SCP? Intern Nightshade, if you read the Siren Head SCP document, you will see that there is no actual Siren Head SCP. SCP-5987, codenamed Siren Head, without a space in the middle, so it's one word, is about a boat. A boat that has the figurehead that is a siren, like in Greek myth. And so the author of this article wrote this as a joke because everyone was mistaking Trevor Henderson's Siren Head as an SCP. And so the title of this Siren Head article is a troll. It is not actually Siren Head, the Trevor Henderson creation. Someone wrote on an SCP sandbox, the sandbox being a separate site from the database wiki, where people write their drafts for articles so they can share them and get critique. Someone wrote a draft of a Siren Head SCP and shared it around like it was real, and that confused a lot of people, which was very annoying to clean up on the public relations side. Dr. Sherman, what was the first SCP thing you saw, and what was your reaction? Well, Intern Citrus, I have no idea, because that was over 13 years ago, and amnestics are a hell of a drug. I cannot at all remember how I first encountered the SCPs. However, I would place money that if I had to guess anything, it would either be from some random late-night creepypasta reading, or Markiplier's playthroughs of Containment Breach. Those are my two best guesses, because I do not remember how I found it. Are you hoping SCP-4666 gets contained this year? Well, intern Scar, I would very much appreciate if the Yule Man was not out there murdering children. So yes, I would like it if the Yule Man were contained, please. Why so much SCP-4666? Its era has passed. Well, I mean, it is active for another 2 or 3 days, so we are in the season of the Yule Man. Dr. Sherman, what was your first position in the Foundation? Intern janitor. I was brought on as an archivist. I would translate the documents from text to audio by doing vocal readings. And so you will see the fruits of my labor on this channel with several hundred SCP readings. Furthermore, then I went up to containment specialist, then I went up to site director. If an individual that constantly revives sees 096's face, will it just be an infinite cycle of death? For a time, intern Jester, because once 096 realizes that you're going to keep coming back infinitely, that would mean that it would do what it did with SCP-682, which is it would have a mental breakdown because it can't make you stay dead, and it would give up. Dr. Sherman, what is the Markiplier situation update? Well, Dr. Lizzie, last I saw, the containment department had stemmed the tide of the Markiplier clone situation at 2,141 instances, trapped within the United States and Canada, but not breaching further. And so if I look at the map now, they have still held at 2,141 instances. So, currently, containment is keeping it on lockdown, but we are still in the season where there could be any sort of breach or markiplication event, so we need to keep our eyes on the target. Researcher Gilbert, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a jellied donut on your way past the commissary. Speaking of drafts, I have my own I've been working on. Jacob Lockhart. His shtick is the last person he touched becomes his new body in the event of death. Well, that does sound a little bit like Dr. Lachlan Cairns, doesn't it? I'm not sure. Oh, no, because Dr. Lachlan Cairns only jumps into dead bodies that are nearby. But okay, we already have a body stealer entity, plus Dr. Elias Shaw also has some of those abilities, plus we have that banned character we don't talk about. And so you're writing in a genre of character that has been done a lot on the SCP database, so you better write something real good to stand out and make people appreciate what you got there. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying you're walking up a steep hill with slippery ice, and I hope you got the right shoes for it. Does the Foundation have diplomats towards other groups of interest, or do they just wing it? Yes, Intern Jester. Depending on the canon. It's mostly that we have a diplomatic relations department that interfaces with the various groups of interest if it's required. Let me pull up the department listing here. Foundation departments. Administration, Notified Council, Ethics Committee, Record Keeping and Information. That's RISA. Alchemy, Anomalous Entities, Animimetics, AIAD, Continuity, Cryptozoology, Decommissioning, Department of Deletions, Emergent Threat Tactical Response Authority, Department of Entomology, Fire Suppression, Miscommunications, Mythology and Folkloristics, Other, Pataphysics, Procurement and Liquidation, Purgatorial Spaces, Spicy Crust Pizzeria, Surrealistics, Department of Tactical Theology, Telecommunications Monitoring Office, Temporal Anomalies, insert department name here, Department of Abnormalities. All right, so it seems like the main list doesn't have it. So let's go to the comprehensive list. So, list of groups of interest is not what we want. The Department of Paranormal Organization Review maintains records on groups of interest. The Department of Diplomatic History studies historical events related to people and groups of interests. And the Group of Interest Research Department, otherwise known as the Group of Interest Research Group, studies and communicates with groups of interest, led by Dr. Everwood and headquartered at Site 55. C. Inter-organizational diplomacy. Why don't we see inter-organizational diplomacy? Department of Anomalous Communications and Relations is another part of Site 55 that is communicating with anomalies, groups of interest, and persons of interests. And the Department of Inter-Organizational Diplomacy is joint with the Group of Interest Research Group and the Anomalous Communications and Relations. So there you go. I've got you chock full of intel on who you're going to be talking to in those scenarios. Site 42 staff, we are currently 15 minutes from the end of the 2-hour stream, and I am feeling about 2 hours seems right for tonight. So let's call this 15 minutes until the end of stream, everyone. What happens if we look at SCP-173, then go back far enough till we can't see it, like through fog or something? Will it just appear, or does it stay there because it doesn't count? So if you were in a foggy place, then 173 would teleport to as far until you saw it, if you had your eyes open. If you had your eyes closed, then you would get got, obviously. But you would see 173 appear as it moved into your field of view. Is there an SCP similar to Five Nights at Freddy's? And if so, what is it? Intern Michael. We have 2 anomalies that I would consider, quote, similar to Five Nights at Freddy's in mood. The first one, not that one. SCP-5963, codename Dark Nights at Showbiz Pizza Place, which I feel like is named as a reference there, is an abandoned showbiz pizza place with anomalous arcade games and child murder. It also has a newspaper called the Marionette Chronicles, so there's a fair bit of reference to the FNAF fandom in here, even though it is an original piece. And then the one that the animated channels decided was SCP-like, even though it is actually much more Sesame Street, if you think about it. Nope. Where is it? SCP-3325, codename Live Entertainment, is an abandoned facility associated with Real Characters Industries that tried to make living mascots. It did not go well for them. So yes, I would call SCP-3325 somewhat close to a SCP Sesame Street, SCP FNAF scenario as well, if that's a sort of flavor you are looking for. What's your opinion on Dr. Bob? Dr. Bob is one of the better of the SCP animation channels, although I'm not a big fan of any of them overall. Dr. Bob is one of the least offensive of them to my knowledge. Nightsense Skyro, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself some brisket on your way past the commissary. Grazie, Dr. Sherman. Curious, are there any wacky or interesting foods, snacks, or drinks you'd love to try sometime? Also, the most unhinged SCP you've ever seen. Interesting foods or drinks. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I am a try anything once kind of guy. So whatever I come across, I give it a shot to see if I like it. But I can't think of anything right now. Furthermore, the most unhinged SCP I've ever seen. Unhinged SCPs. You know what? For now, I'm going with prize people. Because when I read that on stream, oh my, did it cause a fuss in our containment hazard assessment team. So I'm going to go with prize people being my unhinged SCP of the day. Prize people, of course, being SCP-8329. Now, furthermore, Desk is submitting SCP-597, codename Mother of Them All, to be the most unhinged. I'm not actually familiar with that anomaly. Blob of flesh. Hundreds and hundreds of teats of various colors and sizes. Whenever a mammal is released in the cell, it will be drawn to the corresponding teat for its species, then drink unimpeded. The milk release will be identical in every way to the makeup of the subject's mother, although able to sustain the subject's nutritional needs indefinitely. Okay, this is getting pretty out there. I agree, Desk SCP-597 has... Okay. Well, it does have the attached adult content splash page for sexual content, so really I knew what I was getting into starting to read that. Yeesh. Returning to the chat. Do you like Nirvana? Well, as a state of mind, I'd say it's one of the better ones comparatively. Nirvana, Enlightenment, etc. But of course, anomalous states of mind like that are not to be engaged in outside of research purposes. Okay, so prize people is SCP-8329, right? What is this photo that I'm seeing? I warned you. I warned you. So yeah, codename Fuck Off Carl, and I am the center of everything for my faves at the moment. Well, green coded, those are some very fine articles. 3999 is one of my favorites as well, and Fuck Off Carl is just a great article overall. If the puppet from the FNAF universe appeared in the SCP universe, would the SCP Foundation contain it, since it is an anomaly because it can make souls possess stuff and is floating? If it's anomalous and we can put it in a box, it's going in a box. So yeah, I'm thinking we're containing it. Especially because that particular anomaly is very easily contained. You get a little bitty music box and that locks it down to sleep. Easy. We can set up a automatic music box winder to keep the process going. Hey, Dr. Sherman, have you read the Anastasis series? It's a pretty fun series. I have not read the Anastasis series, or at least I am unfamiliar with it. Dr. Sherman, if I was an anomaly, hypothetically, would you tell anyone? Well, you would have to be contained and documented, so probably. Can there be an SCP working with you? Intern Xnix. Within the Foundation, certain anomalies that have proven again and again loyal to the Foundation mission have been granted staff clearance and hired as staff, but it's very rare. Random question, what are your favorite SCPs? My favorite is 999 because he's cute. Intern Pink and Blue Girls. My favorite SCPs are part of the outro, which is happening in about 5 minutes. So if you're here in 5 minutes, you'll hear my favorite SCPs. So stick around for the ending. Are there any anomalies the Foundation ignores due to not being very anomalous, like someone who can sense bananas or a barking cat? Intern Smythe, the answer is no. If there is an anomaly, we contain it. However, we do have the log of anomalous items, which is a massive list of anomalies that are not important enough to designate actual special containment procedures for. So if you're looking for some bite-sized snacks of anomalies, the log of anomalous items on the database will fulfill that need. I think Abel is a Mobile Task Force member, if not captain. Well, Omega 7, the task force that Abel was on was disbanded. And so the next question is, did Abel get put onto the follow-up anomalous task force, which is Alpha 1? Not Alpha 1. Alpha 7, Beta 7, Alpha 9. Alpha 9, codename Last Hope. And 076-2 is not listed among the anomalies in Alpha 9, codename Last Hope. However, the anomalies listed in containment for Mobile Task Force Alpha 9, codename Last Hope is a little weird. SCP-073 Kane is there, not unexpected. SCP-105 Iris, also not unexpected. That entity was part of Omega 7 after all. But SCP-5031, yet another murder monster, is listed among the anomalies on this team. I guess its ability not to exist when perceived could be of use. Refreshing the chat. I see a Ko-Fi notification. Let me grab that before I forget it exists. Gekukify, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to GQ, grab yourself some hot links on your way past the commissary. And thank you for making the effort to donate through the Ko-Fi, which has far less fees per donation than YouTube Super Chats. We appreciate you making the effort. The green light process is scary. I want to submit an article, and my backwards brain has already written the first draft, but asking others to review the idea and draft is scary. Thanks, anxiety. Anyway, hope you'll have a great 2026. Love from an Aussie gal. Well, G-Quick, here's what I want you to think about. Social anxiety is something that with gentle practice can be exercised to a point where it's not as strong. Social interaction can work with exercise the same way your muscles grow with exercise. So consider pitching this idea to a friend first and say, this is my idea. This is the story I would want to tell with it. This is how I would write it. And if your friend says, oh, that's a cool idea. Well, that was a very low risk way to pitch your idea. And then pitch it to someone who's a little more intimidating. And if there's anything you go, oh man, I need to learn to explain that better. I need to figure out how to explain that in a way to make it more clear. That is helping you train your idea and hone your idea as well as your presentation skills to get to the Greenlight project. So take some practice runs. Green Coded is also pointing out that the Greenlight staff is pretty nice in the first place. So that's a good thing to know. America, thank you for your first donation of today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a nice nice pair of street tacos on your way past the commissary. Hey there, Dr. Sherman. Sorry I haven't been on stream for a while. I've been building Lego. I got threatened by the Global Cult Coalition in '05. Help, they want me dead. Well, that took a turn. Well, I guess you're going to have to do some diplomacy to get yourself out of the hot seat. Let us know if any of our diplomacy departments can help with that. So if God is an SCP, what about Jesus Christ, the guy who can turn water to wine, died and came back and made a blind guy have his vision back? So, intern guy. First of all, the Christian God is not contained by the Foundation. If you're referring to SCP-343, that is not God. That is a reality bender with delusions of grandeur. 343 is not God. Do not listen to its lies. Furthermore, we have 5 Jesus in containment. SCP-029-J, Uber driver Jesus. A Jesus in New Jersey that has a sweet ride. SCP-3305, bread Jesus. Put a circle of bread, nail some bread to a tree, and set a virgin on fire. And you can summon bread Jesus, who if you eat of his bread body and its blood wine, then you will be healed and become a religious fanatic of bread Jesus. SCP-4477, codename Cockblock Jesus. That's an unofficial codename we like to use. It's a Jesus ghost that stops people at dances from dancing too close to each other. SCP-5991, codename Vor Jesus. If you eat a whole Christian Bible without condiments, Vor Jesus shows up, unhinges his jaw, swallows you whole, and transports you to the Jesus Land theme park in its stomach, which you are free to leave at any time. Eating the Bible is really the hardest part. And then, of course, SCP-6542, codename Milk Jesus, aka Jesus. I don't think I need to explain that one. Intern low-key SCP-035. If the mask has a gender at all, which I do not believe, it probably doesn't, it is also overwriting the personality of whoever wears it. So it's not changing anything of the sort because it is taking over the object, not turning into the person. Hope this helps. And Site 42 staff, we are currently at the end of stream, and as always at the end of stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. It's a tradition around these parts. And if you want to hear my favorite SCPs, I just want you to know, I'm not going to be that guy who says, oh, the SCPs I personally wrote are my favorite SCPs. That would be cheating. That would be a level of narcissism that I can't even aspire to. But if you want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to These Sherm's author page in Site 42 Hub. There you'll see the SCPs I personally wrote, as well as submitted voice lines or sound effects to. And while you're there, on my author page, one tab over from the SCPs I wrote, there's some links. Some links that people are always asking about, so excited to find, but then they never find them. They're not smart enough to find them. It's really sad. But that's not you, Mobile Task Force Site 42, codename Signal Boosters. Of course, you are determined and clever enough to find those links. And while you're at those links, you can become a Site 42 Patreon patron or YouTube channel member to donate to us monthly. You can do Ko-Fi donations or YouTube Super Chats to donate to us once at a time. Either way, we thank you for direct donations. They're the quickest way to help us keep the lights on here at Site 42. Or you can, of course, do a Ko-Fi or a YouTube Super Chat to donate to us once at a time. Sorry, I just got distracted in the outro. Give me one moment. So yes, what was I saying? If you can donate to to Site 42 directly, we appreciate you greatly for helping us out with that. But, some of us are broke gang. I understand starving artists is a large part of the arts community after all. So, as long as you are still part of the Broke Gang, you are still able to help out doing the like, share, and subscribe and commenting mojo dance on our videos, on our streams, and on the videos, streams, and games of SCP content creators such as game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. And so, oh, I'm being interrupted again. Say hello to Puppy of Interest 42, who has just come to visit. Thank you. Are you a Charlie? Is that your name, Charlie? Sweetie Pumpkin. That's what you are. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Thank you, Agent Goose. Run, Charlie, run. As I was saying, as long as you are helping to engage with the SCP community to help us make bigger and better SCP games, films, animations, merch in the future, then you are a honored member of Mobile Task Force Site-42, even if you are part of the Broke Gang. Also, reminder, Site-42 does have merch, and we are sponsored by ourselves today. You may join the Foundation Fitness Initiative. You don't have to be the fastest researcher, just not the slowest. Available at the link in the description of this video. And so if you want to join me in getting in shape this year, then you can join the Foundation Fitness Initiative. Thank you for sponsoring us ourselves. So, without further ado, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it's a bit of a rough read. Speed round, 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, 8980. Content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. Site-42 staff, this has been Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. I hope you had fun, and I hope you learned something. A couple last-minute things here. Intern Cindy and Bald, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Northern Glacier Corporation, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Go ahead and grab yourself a parfait on your way past the commissary. Hey, Dr. Sherman, Mr. B somehow got my cosmic reactor-powered mech. Well, you better get it back before he blows it up with something. That guy's always blowing things up, like an evil mastermind of some sort. Haven't been able to prove he's anomalous yet, but I've got suspicions. Anyways, Site-42 staff, be safe, be well, and I will see you in the next video or stream. Well, I'm on the Downeaster Alexa, and I'm cruising through Block Island Sound. I have charted a course to the vineyard, but tonight I am Nantucket bound. We took on diesel back in Montauk yesterday, left this morning from the Belling Gardeners Bay. Like all the local here's, I've had to sell my home. Too proud to leave, I worked my fingers to the bone so I could own my Downeaster Alexa. And I go where the ocean is deep. There are giants out there in the canyons, and a good captain can't fall asleep. I got bills to pay and children who need clothes. I know there's fish out there, but where God only knows. They say these waters aren't what they used to be. But I got people back on land who count on me. So if you see my Downeaster Alexa, and if you work with the rod and the reel, tell my wife I am trolling Atlantis, and I still have my hands on the wheel. The credit song is The Downeaster Alexa by Billy Joel. Northern Glacier Corporation, thank you for one last-minute donation to say he's got it as a prize. Well, it sounds like you better go win then. Do not let a civilian have that robot. Be safe, be well, Site 42 staff. Secure, contain, protect.